Am I the a-hole for getting upset at my 24 female brother, 27 male, when he asked me if I'm considering my parents' 57 male, 57 female health in regards to where I'm living? Much of my family live in California's Bay Area. In August 2021, I moved from the Bay Area to New York with my partner for my job and because I like the city. I was initially supposed to move to New York in March 2020, but canceled my move due to the declaration of national emergency. My brother, with whom I have a pretty poor relationship, lives in Hawaii with his partner, his two friends. They moved from the Bay Area to Hawaii in September 2020. My brother works remotely for my father. In March 2020, when I got my New York dream, quotes because at this point I do not dream of labor, job offer, I texted my brother that I will be moving to New York. And his first text responses back were, "Mom just told me yesterday that Grandma's cancer prob came back. Dad has a minor eye issues. He likely has cataracts. Mom's been feeling tired." It was definitely horrible to hear about my grandmother's cancer at the time, to which she has recovered from fully. At the same time, I couldn't help but feel like he was, whether subconsciously or consciously, guilting me into staying home and rejecting the offer. But I didn't think too much about this because I was more concerned about my grandma. No congratulations from him on my potential life changes. Fast forward 5 months, he moves to Hawaii because his girlfriend and his friend wanted to live there together while working remotely for jobs in California. Fast forward to today, 2 months after my move, I take a call from him, albeit reluctantly. At first, he talked about how he's bored of Hawaii and that it's for escapists and he's not about that. He then says he wants to move to Asia and continue working remotely for my dad from there. Some more chit chat and he asks me if I'm thinking of staying in New York, to which I said I don't know. I like it here, but I also like California, but I'll probably stay here for a while. Immediately, he says, "Have you considered mom and dad's health?" Immediately, I got upset and said, "Don't you think it's unfair to ask me that if you move to Hawaii and also are planning on moving to Asia?" Of course, I think about mom and dad's health, but I don't really know how to apply that thinking to my current large life decisions as I just moved. He then asked me, "Why are you so defensive?" Fair. I did immediately change my tone from our initial conversation, to which then I responded, "Whenever I talked about my location of living, you always bring up mom and dad's health and needing to be around to take care for them. But you're moving all over the place and never bring up mom and dad when it comes to yourself." He then said it was just a question and ended the conversation. He didn't call me an a-hole, but I'm still pretty upset, but also think I was definitely being defensive. To note, he's been unemployed for 2.5 years until my dad hired him.
NTA, that's some sexism for you. You could be ageist and ask him why he, as the older sibling, doesn't step up and be the designated guardian, etc. for your parents. There doesn't seem to be a reason why you'd be better for it, such as if he and a parent didn't get along, or you're more responsible with finances or medical stuff. So it seems that you two are on equal footing. For the 2020 texts, my thought was that he might have been with your parents at the time and they maybe prompted him to say those things to you. But he did it again today. It's still possible that others are egging him on, but it also seems that he wants to push the responsibility to you. OP, do not give up your dreams or pause your life, especially when your folks are fine. I'm glad you called your brother out today. Continue to do so and do not back down, even if others are around. As for your parents, perhaps reassure them that you care and wish them well and will figure out hurdles together as they come up. But emphasize that you are not going to live in fear and with that cloud over your head. Everyone gets old, and everyone has struggles, all day every day. It's not unique. I believe in filial piety, but there needs to be a balance. NTA It definitely sounds like there's some passive aggression from his side. It could be multiple causes. He could be jealous about your success and is trying to make you take a step back professionally. It could be a sexist thing where he thinks you're the one who is supposed to care for your parents because you're female. It could be that he is searching for a reason to look down on you because he actually is the one who is not successful at life but prefers to put you down so he can feel more superior. It could be plenty of reasons. I'd suggest to go low contact with him and immediately cut a future conversations where he starts about your parents' health again. Or if he does, ask him if he is not concerned about their health since his income depends on his parents. If you reflect the questions back to him each time, then maybe he will stop asking them. NTA is somebody in middle age. This happens a lot more than you realize. It can be a gender thing, it can be an age thing, it can be a lot of things. Sometimes you just have one or more family members who don't want to pitch in at all, but they want to certainly volunteer you for it and then want to criticize everything you do. My mother had a severe case of viral encephalitis last year that will probably affect how she ages. She's still in physical therapy for balance issues. My siblings all live within a mile of my parents. I live 2,000 miles away and tend to be the black sheep of the family. Guess which one of us had to drop everything for multiple weeks to provide 24-hour care, and guess who did little to nothing other than complain and get testy when I didn't stay longer? Your brother's being manipulative because he doesn't want to put any effort in. He's making you out to be the bad guy when you are not. It sounds like he wants to know your parents are being cared for as long as it's just dumped on you. Calling him out on it doesn't make you an asshole. You're unselfish because you want to balance the responsibility between the two of you instead of just having assumptions made that you'll do everything without question. You can be defensive, you can resent him, that doesn't make you an asshole. You're having a normal emotional response to this kind of thing. There are two kinds of people in the world: those who see things that need to be done and actually try to resolve the issues versus the people who don't want to do anything other than be a pain in the butt for the first group. Now you know which group your brother is in. Incidentally, neither of you have to be there in person to make sure your parents get care as they age, but keep in mind that your brother probably isn't going to help much in the future if it comes to getting them into assisted living.
Story 2. Am I the a-hole for getting a part-time job even though I agreed to be a stay-at-home mom and my ex is giving me mom support? So, my ex has a very particular idea of how a child should be raised. One of the things he didn't want to budge on was his belief that a mom should stay home with their children until at least when the children are in full-time education. And even then, he thinks they should only work during school hours so they are home when their children are. At first, I was 100% against this because it put me in a very vulnerable situation. However, the first week after giving birth, I had a change of heart and ended up signing a contract with my ex where I would effectively be a stay-at-home mom and he would give me mom support. A few months ago, I was offered an amazing part-time work from home position through a friend. Honestly, it was too good for me to turn down, and I had been having doubts about what I had agreed to since our son was a year old. He's almost 4. My ex was my sole income and he owns the house I am living in, so he has a lot of power over my life. So much so that sometimes when discussing things about our son, I would concede to his wants because I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't tell my ex because I knew he wouldn't like it, and I didn't think the role would interfere with me caring for our son since it was only 20 hours a week. Unfortunately, our son said something that made my ex figure it out. My ex was furious. He wanted me to quit immediately, and when I said no, he said I could either quit or we could work this out through the courts. He said I had breached our contract and said I was being selfish since he was taking care of my every need and want. And he said I was a fool since he doubted my job was paying me better than what he was giving me. So I had no excuse to not focus my time and energy on our son. Am I the a-hole?
NTA, unless your mum support also comes with health insurance, contributions towards retirement, interesting interpersonal contacts and a chance to professionally develop yourself, it's not even close to being comparable to what your job hopefully provides, to some degree. Regardless of any of that, it's your call to change your mind about how you'd like to structure your life and income, as long as you still make sure that your child is taken care of. And spoiler alert, employment contracts include the option to quit, so if your ex thinks this is the same, he also needs to accept that you can quit your SOM contract. NTA. Get a lawyer quickly. This man is controlling to a level that I would personally consider abuse. He has no right to insist you do not work, he has no right to insist you sign a contract to state that, and as others have rightly pointed out, legally he is obliged to pay child support to you, whatever his views on your life choices. And as for his threat about the courts, if, as I suspect, you live in the UK, then he is in for quite a shock if he thinks a judge will do anything other than laugh at his contract. Again, I'd reiterate, you need to speak to a solicitor as soon as possible and get ready to call his bluff, because I think that's what this, a bluff intended to browbeat you into complying with this man's wishes. NTA. How legally binding is the contract? If he took you to court for breach of contract, would the judge rule in his favor? If not, you can do what you want and your ex can fuck off. You would definitely need an attorney to get some actual child support set up that he's legally obligated to pay. Or if not, maybe give him a counteroffer where you can continue your mum support, but now in addition he'll also pay you what your little job would have paid you. If a judge would rule in his favor about the contract you all have, then get an attorney to advise you on how to amend the contract and then get some actual child support set up through the courts.
Am I the a-hole for letting my brother know why he is always being left out? So I, 22 male, am one of 6 kids, second to youngest. Me and all my siblings are close except for our youngest, 18 male. Me and my siblings don't really like him that much because of how he would always tattletale on us. It got worse as we got older. Now me and my other siblings all happen to live in the same city, so we are always spending time together. We all went home this past weekend to see our parents. My youngest brother happened to bring his girlfriend over. My parents asked if they could take their grandkids for all of next summer. My siblings were ecstatic and immediately started making plans for how we could best optimize our time and to start saving. My sis is great at making game plan and splitting prizes. I guess once he realized we were planning to split everything 10 ways as opposed to 11 or 12, he must have started to feel some kind of way and did what he always does. He told our parents. My mom asked him what did he want her to do. I guess he finally snapped, went on this tangent about how we shouldn't be ostracizing him. I guess I got mad. I told him the reason we don't want to be around him is because he did the one thing we can't stand. He told mom, if he was hurt, you could have came to us like a man, like a fucking adult. Instead, you snitched. The only person to blame, but it's not to have a close relationship, is you. He left and stayed with his girlfriend's family, and I guess he told his friends, so I've been getting calls and texts. Call me an a-hole, a piece of shit. So, am I the a-hole?
YTA, not because you don't want to include your brother, but because you are showing it in his face that you don't want to. It's basic manners not to make plans when there are people present who you plan on not including. It's just rude, doesn't matter how excited you are. You are 22, why do you care if he tells your parents that you are excluding him? And based on how unkindly you talk of him, plus you always leave him out, why would he talk to you about it? Would you have included him if he had? Doubt that he would think so. Can someone explain to me what even it's snitching? Because it honestly just seems like that someone did something they weren't supposed or was being an asshole and is mad that someone told mom and dad about it. Like, from what I understand, being a snitch isn't being a liar. You're just telling an authority figure what someone else is doing saying, and then the person gets mad when the consequences of their actions blow up in their face. Obviously it wouldn't have happened if they didn't snitch. But it also wouldn't have happened if you didn't do the thing that got you in trouble in the first place. I don't have siblings, so maybe I'm just ignorant to stuff, but I really cannot see a situation where being a snitch makes them an asshole. It really just sounds like a bunch of kids got mad that someone spoiled their fun and coined a term to put the blame on someone else. YTA, there's no way you're a fully grown adult using the term tattletale. You and your siblings sound extraordinarily immature tbh, and that's taking into account how vague your post was, which makes me think this is a case of missing reasons. You complain that he always tattles, but never mention what he told your mother, nor why he did it. Personal anecdote. I'm the youngest in my family by 7 years. I get left out sometimes, but it's not because my 3 siblings are petty. They have kids and I don't. They have a different father and grew up together. They were nearly all out of the house by the time I was old enough to hold a solid conversation with them. And yet we get along fantastically, and I've never talked to our mom about being left out because, well, we just have different lives. Why does your littlest brother deserve to be treated like he doesn't exist because of tattling? Again, seriously. Agreed. A similar personal anecdote. I'm the youngest of 5 by 6 years. I was definitely a tattletale, but it was because I wanted someone to talk to in the family. I often went to my parents to be like, why do you think I wasn't included? Because no one explained it was supposed to be kept from the parents. Eventually, one of my sisters was like, oh shit, we should tell you when we don't want mom to know something, and then you won't tell. Luckily my siblings were decent about including me, however, that much of an age gap just sucks no matter what. I couldn't go to bars with them, well they were interested in it, I wasn't dating when they got married, nor did I understand the excitement of weddings, etc. It's bound to happen and completely reasonable, but it doesn't sound like y'all are leaving him out, only when he literally isn't old enough. I can see the brother writing into this forum something like this. Wibta, if I cut off my siblings. Since we've been children, my 5, all older, the youngest is 4 years older than me, siblings have consistently left me out and ostracized me. The latest incident is when, at a family gathering, all 5 of them began to plan a holiday together, obviously excluding me. They couldn't possibly have done better if their sole intent had been to show me how shut out I was. Later I talked it over with mum, and she spoke to one of them. That person attacked me with something about how I snitched. Aren't we adults now? Can't I speak to my mother about something that's worrying me without being called a snitch? So, Wibta, if I cute these people out of my life. And everybody replying, no, you wouldn't, they sound really toxic. Get them out of your life and spend time with people who actually like you and don't treat you like a leper. I read all your replies, and quite honestly I don't think I have ever seen a bigger on the subreddit before. By the looks of it, you all bullied him relentlessly for years growing up. No wonder you all got tattled on all the time. Your parents have completely failed him, and once the day comes, when he finally goes no contact, and you lose your free babysitting, maybe you will regret being such a dick for him all these years. Not only that, you continue to hold a grudge after years as an excuse to continue bullying him. What's wrong with you? I feel so bad for him that he got the biggest of holes in existence as siblings. All of you are major except the brother. How the hell do you live with yourself? YTA, OP. YTA, look, I'm the youngest of a very big sibling group as well. My older siblings didn't know how to relate to me when I was younger, but gave me the room and opportunity to grow into an adult. Y'all are adults acting like children, and your comments reaffirm that. Rather than understanding there is an age gap and offering inclusion and encouraging growth, you guys decided to cut him out. He will be forever outside your sibling group, and that's on every single one of you adults. He will mature, but I have less faith in you.